Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dokkan Battle video. And today we are taking on the Furious Charge Breaking the Siege event. What I decided to do is I have several runs here that I've pre-recorded, so I'm just going to kind of talk over my recording. But basically I have completion runs for every single typing in this event, so I'm going to kind of talk through my strategy for it. The only typing not represented in this video is where you're using STR against physical. That's because it's LR STR Broly, and I think that's a fairly obvious build to win, and I do have a full separate video on that, so I'll maybe link that video in here in case you specifically want to see that build. So in my first team build here, we are doing an int team to take out the tech Frieza soldiers here, right? The mindset with this event is a little bit different than a traditional event. You don't want to actually just build like a full cohesive team. Really what you're looking at doing here is building an AoE unit, and you're really just trying to support and build up the AoE unit, right? So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the event, basically what you're trying to do here is you are doing 5 waves of Frieza soldiers, and there are 5 enemies in every wave, and they don't attack you. Okay, so the challenge here is that you have a limited number of turns to complete this. So I think for the first 2 waves, you get up to 3 turns to beat them. And then the second 2 waves, you have up to 2 turns to beat them. And the enemies do get beefier, like they get a little bit tankier and harder to kill. And then the part that makes it tricky is wave 5, you have to kill the whole wave in 1 turn guaranteed, right? So there can't be, you can't take multiple turns. You have to make sure you get all 5 dead. Now, it's not that they're like crazy hard to kill, it's that how do you get enough attacks in to take them all out in the 1 turn, right? So the deal is you need to take an AoE unit or like several really strong units that have guaranteed additionals where you know you're going to be able to pop through 5 enemies at once, right? So basically what you're looking at throughout these runs is me really trying to hard support an AoE unit. So for this int build you're looking at here, we're doing it on int Raditz. Now you're going to want int Raditz rainbowed and fully EZA'd for this. The last phase is kind of tricky. You're going to need all the damage you can get, right? And so what you do with these builds is you want to have 2 of the AoE unit. So what I'm running here is I'm actually running a friend Raditz lead, which is not a great leader skill, right? It's an all types leader skill, only like 60%. But then on my side, I run a really strong leader. So my leader, I believe I'm running the Strength Cooler here. It's either the Strength Cooler or the Bojack, but I'm pretty sure Strength Cooler is what I'm running as my leader here. And then basically you're filling it with support units to beef up the attack of your AoE, and you might throw in like 1 or 2 other good attack units to maybe clean up some Frieza soldiers that don't get killed. So here you can see I'm running int UI Goku. It's just like someone that can do a lot of damage in the event. The other thing to keep in mind is they are really pushing pure Saiyans, and then you also need to have type advantage. However, you don't have to have pure Saiyan. It's more important that you're type advantage. Now it turns out that a lot of the AoE units we're using in this video are pretty much pure Saiyans, right? So the STR one was like LR Broly, which is a pure Saiyan, and then in this one we're using Raditz, right? And so we'll see moving forward through my other team builds here that I'm going to be using other like AoE and typically pure Saiyans. So once you kind of figure out the mindset and the way to do this, it actually isn't that bad. There is still some RNG involved, and then your item choice is also really important here as well. So you're bringing items that you wouldn't normally bring. So my strategy for each element was I brought 2 different types of items. I brought actually the World Tournament Announcer for the typing that you are controlling. World Tournament Announcer is a 30% attack buff to that typing. And then what you bring is there is an orb changing item for each typing. So you see here I have the I had the int World Tournament Announcer, and then I had the Monaka costume. So the int World Tournament Announcer does 30% attack for the turn, and what the Monaka costume is doing right here, it is orb changing random to int, and then it also gives you an additional 5% damage per orb, and I believe it does stack. So that's why I used 2 of them, so I'm getting the max damage. So what we're trying to do here for this last wave, because Raditz alone would not be able to do it, so we're really enhancing with as many items as possible. And now with the double Monaka helmet and the 30% attack, and then this UI Goku kind of getting a couple attacks in here, this should be enough to get the job done, right? So yeah, here's Raditz at like about a 3 million attack stat, which is pretty high for him. that's kind of where you need to be. You need to be in the high 2 mil to 3 mil attack range with AoE and a Pure Saiyan to really get the job done. So there you go. So that's the end stage taken down, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to be hopping on to the next stage here, and we're going to look at our next team build that we're going to be hopping in. And what's going to happen here, we're going to jump right from the victory screen. You can see I got my rewards there. Now, this stage here, we are hopping in to the AGL stage, I believe is what this one is. I think we're using, this is where we're using AGL against Strength, yep. So basically my strategy here is you find the main AoE unit you want to use. So in this stage, we are going to be using the LR Majin Vegeta, and it's really the same strategy that we did with the Raditz. So my team build for this was a friend Majin Vegeta, and he's a, I think he's AGL type 90%. Now keep in mind, this is on global, right? And on global, LR Majin Vegeta doesn't have his EZA yet, and I was still able to get it done here. So the other thing you're noticing about my team builds is not every unit necessarily needs to fit on the category you're running. Not every unit has to be the right typing. Because like I said, we are mainly just trying to support our main attacking unit. So here you can see I'm running a bunch of supports. I'm running this AGL Super Saiyan 2 Goku here. He does a couple of things that's really helpful for this team build. He's orb changing, and he is also a Pure Saiyan, so he can do like really good damage to help clean up. So you can see I did not end up with Majin Vegeta on both rotations, but eventually I'm going to get it to that point so that we can kind of get through here. And then the items that I'm running for this stage, I am running the AGL Tournament Announcer to get the 30%. And then I'm running the, I don't remember exactly which item it is. It'll pop up later when I use it, but it's the item that's the same as the Monaka helmet, where it's going to change orbs to AGL and then give us like 5% damage per orb, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. The LR Majin Vegeta is the friend unit, which is, like I said, 90% to AGL, which doesn't matter, that's not supporting everybody. And then I am running the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta that transforms into Majin Vegeta as my other leader to get the better leader skill. So typically the way that these runs are working is, like I said, you're doubling up the main AoE unit, because the goal is you want to have your main attacking AoE on both rotations, so that by the time you get to the 5th wave, you're guaranteed to have your main attacker there ready to go, whether it's your unit or the friend unit, right? So that's really why you just focus on supporting them and getting them through the event here. So you can see I've got Int Metal Cooler supporting, I have Physical Kid Buu. You really, like, the key here is to have attack supports, but for, like, LR Majin Vegeta, like, he does struggle for ki, so, like, you do need to have some key supports as well. And actually, I think I need to correct myself on the items, because I do believe that because LR Majin Vegeta, like, ki is a little bit tougher for him, I am pretty sure instead of the Tournament Announcer, I did bring in either AGL Orb Changing item, or I might have brought in Fruit of the Tree of Might to make sure I can get the key for him. So I'm pretty sure I did not run Tournament Announcer for this one, just because this is a specific case where Majin Vegeta definitely needs it. But you can see there, 4.4 mil, like, that's plenty enough to get it done. You can see we're doing like 12 to 15 mil damage per enemy. That's going to get it done on the last phase. So we didn't need the World Tournament Announcer for LR Majin Vegeta. He's definitely got enough power in his kit himself. The other thing too with Majin Vegeta is if you think you're going to take more than one turn on a specific wave, you can try to set up your orbs the previous turn to leave as much AGL as possible around. Where you can see there, I took an orb with the Goku first to manipulate a little bit to give myself enough orbs, because LR Majin Vegeta, he does need to have a full 18 key super attack to get the AoE, right? So this attack should be enough here. That's like 2.4 mil, right? Basically, you know, the first 4 waves, it's really just getting you time to set up. With most team builds, you should be able to clear the waves even if you're just running like a standard team, like if you don't even fully understand the event. Most people, if you're just running a good team build with the right typings, you're going to be able to get through the first 4 waves, because most rotations should be able to take out the 5 enemies within 2 turns, right? Because you've got 6 attackers and only 5 enemies. You're really just prepping and getting ready for wave 5. That's really what the event is you're just trying to get to where you need to be for wave 5, which I think we are approaching wave 5 at this point. and you'll see me start to like break out the items here if we're on wave 5. This could be wave, yeah, this is turn 6, so I do think we're at the last wave, maybe not, but you can see I had enough orbs there to do what I needed to do, so this should one-shot them with the LR Majin Vegeta, right? So this event, basically, yeah, you can see I'm using my key up items there. I do believe this is the last wave here. Like I said, I am voice recording over a previously recorded run. So that's why, like, if it doesn't quite line up perfectly, that's why, or that's kind of why I'm just talking through. But yeah, looks like we wiped them out there, and I think, yeah, that should be the last wave. So there is the AGL phase done against Strength, so that's how you complete that one. So with the first two we've looked at combined with my Broly run, like I mentioned earlier, I have a full separate video on the Broly run. I just recorded that day one because I'm like, oh, this is going to be very easy with the Broly team. And I didn't really fully understand the event at that time even. But now that I really understand it, I think I've really got the strategy down here, right? All right, so our next run, we are doing, I think, Tech against AGL here. And for the Tech versus AGL phase, we are going with another Majin Vegeta. So we are going with the Tech Majin Vegeta that is from the EZA area, from the Villain Extermination Plan. Same strategy here. I wanted to run two of them. I want to have two AoEs. So we run the friend one, which I do believe is another all types lead. It's only like 60%. It's not that crazy. But we paired that once again. I believe I used the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta that transforms into Majin Vegeta. That gives us a good enough leader skill to kind of compensate and make him strong enough to get it done. So like I said, these first few waves we're doing are pretty much just like your warm-up and getting your rotation set. Now in this run, Tech Majin Vegeta, he isn't quite strong enough to take out the entire last wave himself. So it did take me a little bit of luck in RNG, but this LR Tech Broly is actually quite important to this team build because he does have like guaranteed additionals and he can possibly do 3 attacks in the same turn. So this Tech Broly was actually pretty integral to my run here, right? So yeah, you're going to have to just look at your box. And this is another type of content, right, where like, let's say you're a newer player. You might not have all these same units I'm using. Just so that you guys know, as long as you have the main attacker, you can get this done with various combos, right? You could do a different leader as long as the main attacker is on that leader skill. You can get by with other support units. So if you don't have that Kid Buu or say that Int Cooler that you're looking at there, it doesn't mean you can't get this done, but it is really important you are running support because you need to beef up the attack as much as possible. Something I actually pondered in my mind, I haven't actually attempted this yet, but you might be able to get this done with like a nuking setup where you just have to make sure you get the 2 AoEs on separate rotations and maybe run a bunch of orb changers and then you run the nuking leads. That strategy might get it done, but that's going to be a little bit more RNG heavy because if the orb changing doesn't work out and you can't grab enough orbs, you're going to get really low attack stats. So if I wasn't able to get it done kind of in the way that I'm attempting here, then I was going to maybe try that for the stages I couldn't get done, but I didn't really have to do that. But if you're someone that's really struggling with this, you could try a nuking setup and see if that works. Basically, if you watch any of my punching bag videos, you would do very similar team comps to that, but you would have to, I don't know, I don't know if it would work because like the friend unit, you wouldn't be able to run like the nuking lead as the friend unit. So like you would have to see if just only running the one nuke lead would be enough, and then the friend unit would have to be the other AoE unit as the leader, and you'd have to just live with whatever leader skill they have. So yeah, that's one I would have to really experiment with. If any of you did this with like a nuking technique, feel free to let me know in the comments. I feel like you could get it done with the right RNG, but the way I'm doing it here, I feel like is a lot more consistent, right? Just, once again, filling with supports, supporting your main AoE unit, and just trying to get them through. And just to reiterate, right, your support units, whatever else you're running on the team that is not your main attacker, they do not have to fit on any leader skill. They do not have to be the correct typing because their goal or their role isn't to do damage, right? It's just to help support and get the job done. All right, so I think this is wave 4 that we're doing right here. Yeah, because you can see the enemies are halfway killed. So once we go to this wave, I think we're going to enter the final wave, and you're going to kind of see that it did take me a little RNG to get this done, but once I kind of figured out the strategy, so like I got Broly done like pretty much my first or second attempt. It was pretty easy for Strength Broly. Once I started hopping into these more challenging runs, it did take me a few tries to kind of figure out the strategy. But you can see here, this is for tech, so you're running the, I think it's called Takoyaki. So this is the item here that is going to randomly change to tech and then give you an attack boost, and then there's my tech World Tournament Announcer. So pretty much just that combo of World Tournament Announcer and orb change with the attack boost. That's pretty much what you want to run. Like I said, the only exception was for LR AGL Majin Vegeta because he needs Ki, so I did run the Fruit of the Tree of Might with him. So I decided to go all out here. I might as well get the biggest attack, so I did use Broly's active skill because my thought here was I'm going to attack with Majin Vegeta, and then whatever survives, I need Broly to have the beefiest attack stat, and I need him to get additionals, right? So here we are at 2.4, and like I said, the threshold for this last wave is you kind of have to be like 2.5, 2.6 or higher, and you can see a couple guys did survive through because I didn't crit. So then Broly had to come through and kind of clean up for me, but we did get the job done here. The other strategy in terms of like how you're building these AoE units, if you're like looking at hidden potential and equips, for example, this Tech Majin Vegeta, if you went full additional on him, that's probably not the worst idea, because if you double super, you're going to get the job done in any wave. Crits are good as well, because you do, like, you notice the enemies that I crit did get killed. So you can kind of decide, do you want to bank it all on the crit and hope you just one-shot them, or do you want to go additionals? But having hidden potential on these guys is really, really important, right? So those are some things to think about. If you're really struggling with that stage, you might want to go in and invest a little, hidden potential, or actually change the way you built the units, right? All right, so now in this stage here, this is our physical one. Now, this is physical against Int. And this one, I thought, like, after I did STR Broly, this was the first one I attempted, and I thought it would be a cakewalk, right? Because we have the physical Broly movie, Broly that we can run as a leader skill, and he's an AoE. The problem with that unit, though, is that he transforms, and he transforms at the most critical moment when you're getting to, like, wave 4 and 5, where you really need the damage. And when he transforms, he does guaranteed, like, additionals, but he's no longer an AoE. So the strategy for this is you actually want to unawaken him and run the unawakened Broly, because he never transforms, he never loses his AoE. He is going to be a little bit weaker attack-wise, but this Broly, like, rainbowed, is still going to be, like, more powerful than, like, that Tech Majin Vegeta, so he can still get the job done. And I was actually able to run units on the friend list, so I actually had a friend unit that was running this guy unawakened as their friend lead. And people are realizing that that's kind of the strategy with this guy, is you actually want to run the unawakened version. So you want to reverse your physical movie Broly so that he keeps the AoE the whole time. So what I did is I ran the friend Broly as the lead, which it's actually still a decent leader skill. He still gets like 140 to stats. And then for my lead, I'm running the Int Broly that we just got for Saiyan Day, because then we're getting like a full 170 leader skill from him for attack. And we're just kind of rolling along that way, and then once again plugging in the support units. This physical Super Buu is really good because he's 50% support for that typing. By the way, if you guys have any of those 50% supports, they are ideal to run on these teams as long as you have the right typings and for the right team builds that you're running, right? I know that, like, they're kind of rare and not a lot of people have them. So it just depends on if you do, but like I said, you can kind of plug in whatever supports you've got and kind of make it work. Now, other than the AGL LR Majin Vegeta run, for the rest of these, like, Ki is just not an issue at all. So when you're running your supports, just focus on getting the highest attack support units you can. It doesn't really matter if they're supporting for Ki or not. You'll notice here I did throw in the other physical Broly. He's like one of the old OG leaders, the OG physical lead Broly. He does do multiple additionals. He is single target, but he is good for cleaning up some of those extra units on the end, right? And I do believe I did the same strategy here where I ran the physical World Tournament announcer item. And then I ran the, I think it's the Dabura cookie for this one. The Dabura cookie is the one that is orb changing. And then once again, you are getting 5% more attack per orb that you collect of that typing. Which this Broly, because he's unawakened, he does need that help. He does need that support. But yeah, think of this unawakened Broly as pretty much the equivalent of running your Raditz or your Tech Majin Vegeta. They're very similar power levels, right? So we saw that we could get it done with those kind of weaker units, so we can get it done with the unawakened Broly. So here we are, wave 5. We're going to double Dabura cookie. Even if we can't change orbs, you still want to use both of them because that attack buff does stack. and then you want to use one World Tournament Announcer. The World Tournament Announcer does not stack. It gives you an error if you try to use 2. And there we go, grabbing 17 orbs. This rotation worked out great because we have like the best support rotation here. We got 50% from that Boo in the middle, and we've got 40%, or no, we got 50% from both, so we're getting 100% support. That 2.6 attack stat there, that's going to be plenty good to get it done. We should one-shot the wave here. Yeah, looking at about 9 mil attack stats, 11 mil crits. And there we go, guys. We got it done, right? So that's basically how you get it done. There's all the stages complete. Like I said, the STR Broly isn't in here, but I do have that in a separate video. If you guys need help or have questions on how to build teams for this, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I have a Discord. Feel free to join. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.